This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Let's get started. It is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, and we are here for the meeting of the Easthampton Energy Advisory Committee. Jamie Paquette, the chair, joined by Alex Barron and Connie Dawson. Steve Linsky should be joining us shortly. And we're also joined by Sophie Bertano, the city's sustainability coordinator. The first order of business today is the review and approval of the meeting minutes from May 20th.
You've had for several hours.
Yes, you've all had absolutely ample time to review.
I'm going to do just a quick review, but
yeah, we can do it quick. I did a quick review before I walked out the door.
I will try to get to you guys sooner in the future.
Busy times.
It seemed pretty comprehensive and covered all the major points. We could table till Steve gets here the review and approval if we want, just to give everybody a chance to look it over a little bit more if they'd like.
No, that looks fine to me.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
Second.
You second. Motion is approved, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Steve is an abstention, but minutes are approved and can be submitted to the city clerk. We do not have any members of the public here for public speak, either in person or hybrid. So we'll just move on to the next bit, which is our committee updates. In terms of member update, I don't think we have anything that's changed since before. Still no word from our mysterious fifth member, not sworn in. So I know, like with the Bees Committee, there's a member that had not been to a meeting in a long time, and they moved to just have them removed from the list and whatever. And I think at this point, probably petition to do the same thing, just to leave a spot open for somebody else that wants to do that. I mean, the person in question that wants to come back, they can always make make an effort to do so. So we are, still currently just the four of us then. On the Bees Committee side, I sadly was not able to attend last week's meeting of that committee. Sophie, I believe you were there, at least virtually.
Yes, I'd be happy.
Yeah, a quick rundown of anything pertinent.
Sure, yeah. We kind of just chatted about how we had the first planting day for the garden site that we're working on. The first batch of plants is in, and we talked about a watering plan for the summer into the early fall. And the Girl Scouts have agreed to divide it up against themselves, and so watering is likely covered for the summer. And then we're going to have to revisit in the fall when we are able to get the second batch of plants in the ground. We'll reevaluate for a fall watering cycle. So that was the main thing, was kind of talking about ongoing maintenance of the garden. And I think that was pretty much my contribution to the last meeting. I'm blanking on kind of the rest of the stuff that they chatted through. I think they had removed a member of the committee officially.
Right.
And
I'd done that invasive walk with the folks at Pascomic, maybe.
Yes, actually, we also talked about how we met with Lindsay from the Housing Authority over at one of their properties to talk about an invasive removal and how the Bees Committee can help with invasive removals over at Housing Authority properties. So that was something that they are working on. And I also think that they were just kind of going through their priorities for this next year and voting on some of their goals as a committee.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's right. That was a lot more sort of short-term, long-term priorities. Yes. Sorry, I missed that. I'll try to catch up via minutes and at some point.
I also think they are planning. I don't think that they confirmed a date for it necessarily, but they're looking to plan a firefly walk. I think that would have been with the Potomac Trust. So hopefully they'll have the date for that event soon.
Yes, that's right. I think they were going to do that maybe at the old trolley line property of the Clapp Street out there, I think. Right. So okay, that's cool. Yeah, I hope that happens. I'd like to do Awesome. Yeah, partly I'm asking, I am planning sort of here notes too. I'm hoping to make it to the city council meeting tomorrow to provide a quick just kind of update on things that we have going on. So if there's anything we want to highlight for that, and I'll mention B stuff too, probably real quick, just in the public speak portion of that, just to kind of give everybody an update on what we're doing. So yeah, great. And then Sophie, do you have any other updates from your side as the sustainability coordinator side of things?
Not that are not already on the agenda for discussion.
You had any more clarity about sort of the budgetary status of your role and like how that's going to be potentially changing, or no?
I don't have full clarity. I'm unfortunately hearing different things from different sources, so don't want to say anything that might not be completely confirmed, but I should have more information soon, hopefully end of this week, beginning of next week.
Okay. But as your point from the weekend was that, you know, no matter what, you'll still be here at a full-time role. Correct, most likely.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like for sure.
That's what we want to say.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it was in the Gazette that your position was being reduced. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in the article.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah, and I've heard different things from different people. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, obviously there's still a lot going on. It's a lot to be worked out where the budget is
Yes.
concerned. It's not
Right.
really our purview here, but you know, in the aftermath of the vote, I'm sure there's a lot that has to happen between now and the beginning of the fiscal year. Okay, so let's see. Steve, we did a quick approval of the minutes. I don't know if you have any comments on the minutes or anything. Okay. Excellent. I didn't do a lot of changing of the agenda here either from last time, but you know, there's still the renewal initiatives, the town lodging house. You know, like the RFP process is open at this point. We had the presentation last time from one of the interested parties. Again, I think we decided as a committee we're not necessarily ready to jump behind any specific project without, you know, knowing more about it. I mean, we're free as individuals to throw our support behind something. But
I still have a question about the whole situation. Why did the city consider holding on to the farmland and just selling the property that consists of the house and the barn or whatever? Was that considered and rejected?
you'd have to ask
Don't know.
different, but yeah, feel free to come to the city council and ask.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I can't tomorrow. I have to go to a preschool graduation.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, somewhere in the records, you know, there may be more information about any deliberation that happened on that. You
Oh,
can
that's
kind
right.
of
That's a good
dig
idea.
through.
Yeah,
Excuse me. I don't know if it's just city council deliberations or, you know, I'm sure it started in a committee.
yeah.
And then moved from there. So, yeah, I don't know any more than the fact that this is where we're at. And,
Right.
you know, what
Right.
happens next. So yeah, if we hear anything more about anything, you know, happening there, I think, you know, one of the things we were talking about was maybe just being supportive largely of having a, you know, energy component
Right.
behind it, whatever that is, something that is in line with city's climate goals, and that aligns with that. So that we would be broadly supportive of. The public outreach events, you all were mostly there more than me on Saturday for the farmers market. So how was that overall?
Hot. It's quite hot. But you signed some people up, Sophie, so that was good.
I did. I signed some people up and it was interesting. We got some good insight into how people in Southampton are navigating Mass Save. It's something that we hadn't considered because they're obviously not part of our CFP grant, but there's apparently certain, I don't know if it's everyone in the town, but people in Southampton who are on, I can't remember what the gas utility they have was.
Holyoke? Yes.
Yeah, that might have been it, are actually not eligible to even partake in the Mass Save program.
Correct.
Which I was not aware of.
Used to be Eversource.
Do they?
Well, the one person we spoke to about it who was complaining about it said that he gets his electricity from Eversource, but he's still been told he's not eligible for any of the
Okay, this is a Holyoke gas customer, because Holyoke,
Yes, he's a Holyoke gas
yeah,
customer.
Holyoke, as any other municipal utility, has to run their own
I
program.
think that's it. Because we had another woman who, Southampton resident, Eversource Energy, electricity, but she was an oil customer.
Mm.
So
Okay,
she did seem to be qualified.
okay.
So she doesn't have anything to do with the Holyoke.
No.
And so she really should be eligible, but
She is.
oh, she is. Oh, okay.
So that one was, okay, so I see there's
Okay.
interesting. So, yeah, so, okay.
And I'll say in the half that I was there, not many sort of questions about heat pumps or EVs or that kind of stuff. There was
Yeah.
some interest in SA, which,
Right,
could be a mix of like if we had a big sign that said save money on your energy bills by electrifying or something that might. I know there's a person at UMass that went to their sustainability fair and had like a little Charlie Brown booth that said like the heat pump doctor is in kind of thing. It was fielding questions. So, but yeah, so there you go.
Well, as I was writing the minutes today, I noted that Lydia, is that her name? The woman who came to speak to us talked about a van that
The demo.
oh, right,
yeah, that maybe, we should really look into finding out how to get that when we want to do so, because that would have been just what we
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
Are we scheduled there again?
At the farmer's market? Not as of right now, but it sounds to me like they have like a community booth kind of slot available whenever we're interested in taking it. So it's definitely something that they would be open to in the future. But right now we don't have anything else on the schedule.
Do we want to schedule something or not?
Is there any, we talked last time as well about taking advantage of the mayor's events next week around
Right.
World Cup. I don't know if
This
we
week.
get, well,
yeah,
yes, this
starting
week, yeah.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah. I don't know whether that's realistic at this point. I'm going to be out of town, so I can't help with anything.
I will also be out of town.
Well, then clearly we're not going to take
I-
advantage of that opportunity.
I plan to go Friday, but I plan to be there with my kids.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Well, I think it's the 29th is the,
That is the big, like, 250th celebration or something like that, yeah.
are you away then, Sophie? The 29th?
I leave on the 2nd to go to the Cape, so I should be here on the 29th.
So, yeah, I guess it's sort of like-
that would be the biggest, that's the
What-
one that we should, if we were interested.
right, I guess what is the hook or what is the peg that we're, other than just sort of like general information advice, is there something beyond that? I mean,
Well, but if we were
massive,
able to get the van,
right,
So Monday, the
that'd be-
29th is what
yeah,
we're
for
saying.
Monday.
It's in the middle of the day as well. Is that right?
Oh,
I think your call was at 2 p.m. at Millside Park.
Alex, are you looking at the city website?
I am looking at my notes, but I'm
I'm
jumping
looking
back
at the
to
Millside site right now. It looks like,
it's not on the Easthampton, Massachusetts calendar.
yeah, they're, 29th, it says, there's a 4:30 soccer game that'll be going on. There's a 4 o'clock history of Easthampton presentation that's going on. And then a band at 6.
Is that right at the park? This is at the park?
This is at Millside Park, yeah. This is, yeah, but it says it's from like, the trolley runs from 3 to 9 p.m. that day, so gates are open at 3 p.m. On the 29th, and it runs through 9 p.m. 4:30 soccer game.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Some sort of laser or some finale as well.
And laser finale. It does say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
that sounds kind of
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Food trucks and family activities. Yeah, laser light show honoring.
It's 3 to what? I'm sorry.
3 to 9.
To 9.
So anyway,
I mean, yeah, getting a truck or something there would be great. Something that's like,
that'd be good.
not just, sitting at a table. But I don't know what the process for trying to do that is.
Do you know, Sophie, who we would contact?
Yeah, so they actually I don't know if I guess it was the Eversource program administrators just sent out an email recently to us about reserving that. So I'll look for it in my email and see what the process was, but it does seem to be now like open to reservations. I'm just not sure how much lead time they would need. I will go find that.
I'm,
Thank
so you were, I'll planning on being there too, so.
For the 29th?
Mhm.
Well, I'm planning to be there this Friday is what I was saying, but
Oh,
the 29th, I could probably, it's a Monday. I could probably be there for at least some of it.
I think I could probably be there too.
So, yeah, I mean, if we can get something like that, be there, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. We'd have to, we also would have to figure, the mayor did tell us that we could have something there, but we'd have to find out if there really is a place that this thing could be parked, I guess,
Right.
as well.
Yeah, so first is like, can we get it? Second is, can they accommodate it? We can get those two things sorted, then we'll start with Sophie seeing if it's possible to even get it, and then
I found the email and there's some criteria for the events that they will allow it to be at, but I think it should fit all of the criteria. They say they want expected attendance of 50 to 75 people easily. Located at Eversource, electric, gas, or dual service, yes. Adequate indoor outdoor space, which would be dependent on conversations with the mayor, and then subject to Eversource review approval. And then there's a form that you would fill out to request it. And it has some information about like the dimensions of the exhibit and everything. So I can send that over to the mayor to see if there would be enough room for it. But I don't know if, I'll see if all the spots are taken up or not.
Well, let's see if we can just get something in while we get the follow-up details, whatever, just to try to, even if it's a pencil in reserve for that.
Through Eversource, you mean?
Yeah. Let me submit something.
Yeah, I can submit it. It sounds like it sounds like they then review it. And I have another concern in how long it will take for the Eversource sponsors to review and approve. Just given some of my experience with materials from the sponsors. Yeah.
Gotta get something in.
We'll see.
And then even if we have to follow, if they get back, we follow up, et cetera.
yeah, I mean, at the very least, it lays the groundwork for us to say, okay, if they come back or the review's taking too long, maybe we can then brainstorm another future day that's like
Right.
further down the road.
Yeah.
That we could use it
Yeah,
for something.
yeah.
There's certainly to be other stuff going on in the city.
Yeah.
At times, so.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool. All right, yeah, so see if you can find any potential dimensions from the mayor's office and see if you can submit it to Eversource now and just maybe they'll get an instant response or something or see what happens and then let us know if there's any way we can help you or what you hear back.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, no problem.
All right, so then any other, again, we can look at maybe getting into a farmer's market at some point with enough, warning time and enough space, and if they could carve out enough space for it.
It
That-
seems like if Saturday is typical, they would have space for it, I think.
Mhm.
It seems.
Okay. Anyone have anything else under sort of public outreach upcoming or on the radar, things we want to consider? All right. Let's move into our policy updates. So one thing that did happen in the interim since last meeting was thank you to Steve and Alex for setting up and Steve especially for working with the legislative offices to schedule and you put together a meeting with our local reps. Why don't you all go quickly, go that quickly, but take us through what happened, the conversation that you
Well,
had.
Alex did a terrific job in presenting, the thing that we kind of worked on, the notes in advance. And then we got everyone who was scheduled to be there and then, including the senator himself. Which I wasn't totally anticipating, but it was good that he was. And it was particularly good because he indicated that he had a meeting coming up with Senator Barrett. And we knew that Barrett was kind of going around the horn there too, on his bill. So he was very interested in I think us delivering the kind of points that Alex presented, in a form that he could in turn relate to Barrett.
Great.
So
That's just what we want.
I haven't followed, except for thank you. I haven't followed up with Velas's office, but they have an event tomorrow night. intending on doing it tomorrow, one way or another.
Okay.
Either direct call to the office or just going to the event.
Mhm.
Try to follow up with Liz about how that part worked.
So just to take it through for the record for minute purposes, and I guess, did you have a presentation that you did?
I just had some notes that I read off of for the for the thing, and the highlights were touching base on Mass Save funding, and just sort of reiterating that continues to be a priority. Sophie kindly provided a range of numbers that from various data sources, and then we talked about municipal bond bill and opportunities for the climate bank language in there, and also some sort of provisions that either could be added, or there's a provision in there that would help communities plan for like sort of public decarbonization efforts involving sort of neighborhood scale. So we flagged that, and then some bills that might go into the House side bond bill that give municipalities more visibility and control over sort of gas line replacement versus non-pipeline alternatives. So we talked about that. And then for the energy bill, we talked about keeping the language in there, simplifying solar permitting and inclusive utility investment, and massive, and then support for some language that's already on the House side, supporting specific requirements for data centers, for tariffs, and renewable energy
And climate bank.
and the climate bank. Yeah.
So
Although that's more of a bond bill piece at this point.
So it's largely what we kind of flagged last
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
with the follow-up notes.
Mhm.
So for our records, I think, we've got we can produce what we sent out to both Representative Gomez's and Senator Bayless's office. So I don't think I forwarded to you the link to, because I recorded
Okay.
their part of it, not our part of it. Did I get that? I don't think I forwarded that. Did I?
I did get it, and I watched it, but it was only like the last. It's all good. It was only like the last. Like,
oh, that's why you said it was only 20 minutes. Yeah, that's right. I did do that. I can't even remember what I did. Yeah. So that's another record we have.
Yeah.
Okay. So for minute purposes, do you have any way? Could you provide the notes to Connie to
Yeah,
include
and
in the
I
minutes?
can
So
put
it can
them
be
into
part-
the minutes.
Yeah, so the document, it's called EAC meeting with Rep. Gomez.
Oh, okay. Yes, all right.
So the meeting notes are in there,
I could just pull out of that.
or you could actually just, there's the follow-up email that you could ask something to summarize yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will
The
make sure.
because the follow-up email is strictly Senate focused, because it was for the explicit purpose of a meeting between Senator Vellis and Senator Barrett.
Mhm.
Obviously, the bond bill is now live. That's a live concern in the House. In fact, I think people are still trying to get House members to sign on to an amendment to add the climate bank bill to the municipal bond bill. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so those pieces have been shared with everyone here, and can be woven into the minutes.
Yeah, I have them. Yeah.
Okay. And then the recording that you have, is that available?
I did forward it, yeah.
Is it online available, or is it just a file?
It was recorded to the cloud, so it's the link can get you right to it. Is that what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, so again, if we can include the link
It
in the
wasn't a
minute,
file.
like a public
Yeah,
link.
yeah, that's the link,
Somebody
yeah.
could go and
Yeah, yeah,
watch.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make sure, Connie, that we can put the link in there too.
Oh, I'm sorry. The
Let them
link,
know that we're doing that before.
I'm sorry, what link? I'm sorry.
No, this is not in here. This was the Zoom recording from the actual meeting. We recorded them.
Oh, we want to put the link to that into these
That's-
minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
I have to think about that for a second. It's an
Yeah.
actual link, but unlike our recording here, I don't know how the permissions work.
Yeah, it depends on who's hosting.
Because I was the host.
Right, so it's in your personal Google account. You can make that file accessible to anybody with the link.
Yeah, I think that's how, I
Yeah.
can go back, yeah, I'll go back. I think that's how I generally have it.
Mhm. I mean, there's a reason not to share it as a.
Yeah, I
like
just want to make sure that
officials, right?
it's clear with the
Oh.
members' offices that they
Oh,
anticipated
that's,
that
yeah,
use
of
of the
course,
video
good
before.
point, good point. Let's not pursue
Okay,
it.
so
I'll double check that.
let's check it before, okay.
Yeah.
And then if it's
That's a good
okay
point.
with them, then let's put it in the minutes.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, who was there? You mentioned that the Senator Bayless actually came.
Yes.
Meeting, and
I
other than
can-
that, it was reps from the other office.
I'll add it to that document. It
Okay.
was,
So if we're concerned about the video, what about the recording? What about just putting in the notes from the meeting that you made? Like, would
Yeah,
that be
I think we
enough?
want to include that too. I just think if we can be inclusive of all of it, it's
Yeah.
fine. But if
Okay, well, you guys
if we just get the
can let
notes,
me
that's
know, but
fine.
it seems like this would be
I'll follow up.
enough.
I'll follow up tomorrow, so we know
Okay.
exactly what we can do.
Yeah, we don't need to go overboard necessarily, but it's nice to have the record show everything. No, that's great. And again, thank you all for making that happen. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do much or join. But I'm glad that you all were able to get that time and get, have that influence in the process, and at least have, our voice collectively heard.
Yeah.
And what we think is important. So it's great. And I can again give that as a quick update to the city council tomorrow too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thing that we've done. All right, anything else in the legislative policy world that we need to tackle? Is there any balcony solar stuff happening?
I mean, I think it's like, no news is mildly troubling news situation at the moment. I can never remember when end of session is formally, but it's in July. Is it like July 7, end of July? I don't remember. So we could check that, but it's kind of tick on, because if we expect to see, I feel like the bond bill, both the bond bill and the energy bill, which would both, are both directly applicable to a ton of the stuff we're talking about. The bond bill is done in the Senate, but pending in the House, and I haven't heard about much recent activity, although I think maybe there's some floor action or some action expected.
This says July 31st. That seems so late. Do you think that's
Yeah,
really
no, that
true?
sounds right. Yeah.
Okay.
So, the bond bill, they're on a timeline to get co-sponsors by tomorrow. So, that the co-sponsors on amendments. So that suggests some forward momentum, and that might move. And then if the House does move, like in the next week or two, to pass the bond bill, then that will, then they can put it in, then they can appoint conferees, and as soon as it's in conference, then we have the rest of the year to finish it. The energy bill, has obviously passed the House, and in the Senate, it has to make it out of TUE. It might get a referral to Ways and Means. So you figure each place needs time to mount a markup and offer amendments and vote on them and move forward. And so it's, we're going to be running up against the end of session, which is not atypical for a legislature, but, and I would be surprised if the legislature were to skip an affordability bill in these times when, many of those provisions, from balcony solar to everything else are needed. It would be a weird time to skip it. So I think they will move forward, but it will be, the longer it takes to sort of move to the next stage, the more of a rush it will be at the end. So, but as long as they can get it in the conference by the 31st, then, they can the conferees will have a little bit more breathing room to work on it.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that, there's significant enough pushback on the House version that there would be significant changes? I know.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like from the call with Senator Velis that they were planning to take a different approach on the massive funding. So what exactly that looks like, and I think I had heard in a separate conversation with another senator that, that they maybe had other ways to find savings that were not sort of cutting the functional pieces of the massive budget. And so, I think the chairman's mark introduced into TUE or whatever Barrett introduces will sort of really let us know where that is. Yeah. Sort of waiting for news on in both chambers at this point.
Well, by the time we reconvene, I know we'll probably be a lot closer to the finish line there.
That's true.
Than the other. So, okay, I guess there's not a whole lot for us to do other than just sort of watch from sidelines at this point. But again, appreciate everything that you all did to make that happen. Moving into additional sort of climate action plan, action item review. We had that long conversation with Lindsay from the Housing Authority. Glad to hear that the Bees Committee was getting with them too. I know it was a lot for her to absorb, so I don't think that we've heard anything specific back yet on specific plans or.
Well, she did come by our booth.
Did she come by the booth? Oh, I missed her on Saturday. Okay, that's
Their
good.
daughter, yeah.
Nice.
I have a little bit of an update on that. I don't know how much I can really, there's not a ton to share, but it sounds like she's interested in getting assessments done of all of the Housing Authority properties. And she's had some issues reaching out to or getting in touch with, I guess, our multifamily contact. And so I spoke with our program coordinator today, who gave me the email address of our Eversource multifamily program manager. And I'm going to try to bump that request just to make sure it doesn't get lost, because things so commonly get lost in the pipeline. And so, yeah, we're looking to do that. I always get so wary of data concerns in terms of sharing information, but I feel like as a public entity, the Housing Authority might not fall under that, but still following the necessary kind of, I have to do a warm handoff. I can't just anyway.
And we confirm
on it.
we confirm that they definitely are eligible for that program. Good.
I believe so. Our program coordinator had no concerns about whether or not they would be eligible. And I do think that there's precedent for it in other communities. So there was no concerns. But we'll stay tuned to hear from the multifamily director if they have any issues.
Okay. Great. Yeah, we'll maybe follow up with her again in a few weeks, or just sort of see if there's any support or anything else that we could offer, or problems that she's running into or something like that. But it sounds like Sophie, she'll be in touch with you probably fairly regularly, maybe. So feel free to pass along updates or anything that's going on there.
Right. Yeah.
Are there any other sort of current climate actions taking place that we want to update on or focus on here? Again, didn't really update too much. There's a bunch in the minutes, but yeah, anything else from various city departments? Sophie, nothing else happening actively.
I guess the one thing I'm curious about, Sophie, obviously we talked about your position being thankfully stable. Is there, even with the expanded budget passed, I know that's still kind of like a hardship budget, like things have been sort of cut or reduced. Is there anything in sort of your space that we should be aware is now going to operate under a sort of reduced funding basis going forward?
TBD. I don't have any direct answer to that right now, unfortunately. But that might also be a good thing. I haven't been told to cut back on any particular initiative or anything like that. I just know that with this sort of reduced budget and the hope for more conservative fiscal practices, larger projects that require heavy city buy-in are likely not going to be as attractive to the mayor's office, is what I'm thinking. Obviously, when we're looking at energy efficiency projects, ultimately we're looking at savings, which is potentially how we could pitch some of these things. But I think that a lot of times, especially in the last couple of months, they've just been looking at kind of the sticker price on certain things. And it's why we haven't been able to move forward with the lighting project that we were looking at. And so I'm trying to find a couple more, I guess, slam dunk things. One of the things, I don't know if I had mentioned this, but I did a couple months ago, we were looking at the the senior center, and we had an energy management company come and do an assessment of it. And they did propose that, that we would be eligible for the no cost installation through Mass Save, which is kind of a small thing, but it's something, and it would be no cost, and ultimately it would lower the bills. That unfortunately is in the hands now of the senior center to do with it what they would like to do. And I don't know if they're still holding out for, not wanting to make any upgrades to the current property, if they're hoping to get a new property at some point. So I think sorry?
So if it's not going to cost them anything, why not do it?
Sure. Yeah. I brought it up again recently. I can reach back out to the, put that on my list of things to do, to reach back out to the senior center director, just to kind of ask like where she's at with it, and if she needs me to bump it with our contacts over at Energy Source, because that does seem like just something that we could do, and it wouldn't cost anybody anything, and it would save money on the bills marginally. So yeah, I think I haven't been told don't pursue XYZ projects necessarily, but I have kind of gotten the impression from things I've tried in the past that it might not be the time that they're looking to spend money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wondered to what extent, we could look at the action plan items and see, prioritize those that are sort of actively money saving versus just like energy saving or something like that. I don't know how many of them, fit in that criteria necessarily. But yeah, there could be a few things.
Another opportunity too is looking more seriously at the what's the word I'm looking for? The decarbonization accelerator through the climate leader communities, because that's up to $1 million for a project.
Right.
Which I think that there's a 10% city match required for those projects, but for a project that could potentially be funded that significantly, maybe it would be a more attractive proposal. I've kind of started some relatively early discussions relating to potential solar projects, but those unfortunately are also expensive, and timeline wise for climate leader stuff, I don't think that we're in the window necessarily to start thinking about an application yet. So I think just leveraging funding as much as we can and identifying projects that would be more of a slam dunk, we'd have a better chance for it.
You mentioned solar. I think this came up briefly over the weekend. There was talk, he said, maybe from the mayor's office, about the old landfill of Glendale, like rekindling the solar, potential solar project there.
Yeah.
Who brought that up? Was that you?
The mayor brought it up when we were chatting with him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it was not too much detail that
No, he just said it was something that he thought we should be looked at again. That if we're talking about things the city can do to get some money.
Yeah.
And I asked him why it hadn't gone through before, and he said it was really because of the abutters. There was no other reason not to do it, and that may not be as strong an argument now as it was then. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but
well, he left an impression that he strongly supports it.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But obviously, for it to be like a money-making situation for the city, it's not just something that the city would be like,
Sure.
oh, yeah, it would have to be a partnership
That's right.
with the developer or
That's
something
right.
like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder, so did it sound like he's already had some conversations on
Sounds like
that? Yeah.
That was my impression.
Okay.
Hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, maybe another reason to invite the mayor to a meeting.
Yeah. Well, actually.
And he actually was very open to that idea. He did point out he's quite busy right now. He might not be able to stay for a whole meeting, but I think, maybe we can find a
15
time he
minutes,
can come in
20
for
minutes.
15 or 20 minutes. Yeah. He thought that would be great.
When
Yeah.
we set the next meeting time, because we'll need to set the next several, we can then maybe pitch that to his office. And just say, hey, can the mayor stop by? I'd still like to invite the planning department to come as well. I know that was one group we were talking about previously, we're trying to engage with them, integrate with them around, anything that they're doing and making sure that climate is a lens that they're viewing stuff through. So I know you hadn't had much luck with that before, Sophie, but maybe again for the next meeting we can invite somebody.
And we should offer this a remote participation too. They don't have to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's why we do. We always have that option. And I'll mention. Yeah, I'll mention it to the city councilors too. The city councilors are always welcome to come join us at a meeting if they have specific things that they're.
Maybe when the budget is done, they won't be more interested in
Yeah, there's always something.
visiting us.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked, you mentioned the grants, Sophie, so if, if there are things you're considering, or, it's the time to do some brainstorming around things that we might want to do with that, with a, climate leader community grant, when the deadline would be later this year, probably. So now's the time to.
Yeah, I actually don't know too, and I have to confirm because we had applied for a Green Communities grant back in April, and I feel like I have to confirm that doesn't make us ineligible for climate leader applications this cycle too. Even if I haven't heard back from them yet, but even if we don't get it, like, do we have to wait until next cycle, or can we do a Green Communities and a climate leader in one go? I have to confirm the timeline for that, but.
I wouldn't think Green Community would take us out of the running for that, because the climate leader community is such a smaller number of municipalities, right? So it's less competition, really, in a way. I mean, like, most communities are green communities, but I don't know how many are in the climate leader designation at this point.
Mhm.
It's got to be less than 30. I think it's like 19. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, to certainly check on that.
It was 19 in the inaugural group.
That's where I got that from. But they've since had another cohort, I think, of inductees. So
The thing about changing the electricity at the high school, is that what it was? What's the deadline for that? For the next round to apply for it again? Because I know we didn't apply for it, because it was too late last time.
for the lighting project, so it wasn't that it was too late. It was that I did not get approval from the mayor's office to move forward.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so we had applied for we got the utility rebate from Eversource, and then we were looking at, and actually this is why that thought popped into my brain about climate leader making us ineligible for green communities, was because as a climate leader community, we were not eligible to apply for the full amount that lighting projects typically get awarded to non-climate leader communities, because we were considered pre-application for a decarbonization accelerator grant. Even if we were not planning to submit a decarbonization accelerator grant, we still had less that we were allowed to ask for from green communities. So that number plus the utility incentive that we were looking at would still leave, and we could get the 0% interest loan through the utility. And so I presented the monthly loan payment numbers to the mayor's office, and they were not thrilled. And unfortunately, the funding that's available for lighting is minimal right now and only getting worse. Like, I don't think that they're going to I don't think they're doing utility rebates next year at all for LED lights. So it was kind of like I had 2 complete applications ready, one for the van and one for the lights, and was just like, tell me which one to press go on. And since I didn't really get I did not get confirmation for the large funded project. So I went with the van, which would be funded ideally through the enterprise retained earnings from water and sewer. And so it was a separate funding source and also significantly less buy-in from the city. So that was the saga with the lighting.
Okay. So we're not going to pursue. I thought maybe we could just try again, but there's no point really in doing that right now.
I mean, I'd love to, because it does seem like it would be such a good opportunity. Like, why would the school not have the school actually has LED lights? They're just some fluorescents and some LEDs, but they're like really early generation LEDs. So it seems kind of like a no-brainer to switch them over, but the funding that's available versus the savings from switching from one generation of LED to another is not as great. So it just makes the numbers not look as attractive.
Right. Okay, that answers my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you happen to remember what the payback was? Just roughly.
3.5 years.
Okay.
Something between 3 and 5. It was 3.5. Yeah, it really wasn't terrible. it was just unfortunately coming during a time with a lot of really tense decisions for making cuts that taking on an additional loan was probably not.
Yes.
Yeah.
The timing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe now that things are more stable, planning for long-term savings can be back on the agenda, because those lights have a really long lifespan. And
Right.
Yeah.
and also you might get, I don't know if the teachers might have a perspective, but anyone knows anybody that's in with the Easthampton teachers, like you could also sometimes get better quality of light when they upgrade.
It's awful being under fluorescent lights all day.
Yeah. So
I guess it's we're gonna jump down to the bottom there just to cover some of that, but yeah, I guess. So we don't know if there's any, we'll talk next time, I guess, about any additional conversations to happen or any other ideas we might have for grant opportunities. We touched a little bit on sort of the Mass Save, Community First Partnership and the Electrify program, and any other big updates to share, Sophie, as far as that goes.
Yes. So I received notice from the Empower program. I was told not to put this in a press release, but I don't think that this counts.
You're allowed to tell us.
Never mind. I just checked the email. I actually might not be able to say it. I'll email you guys. I don't want anything on public record that's not supposed to be yet on public record, but I have some good news incoming about a grant that was applied for that we talked about previously. So I'll have some updates on that. And then I wanted to share some really good news that I got from our home performance contractor this afternoon on an Electrify call. He mentioned that the New Hamptons program, so the CFP, Northampton, Easthampton, Westhampton, is Revise's highest performing team that they work with in terms of lead generation, home energy assessments, weatherization work, and HVAC. We all have the best numbers out of any community, not even proportional to the size of our community. Like we are doing better in numbers than some of the larger communities that they work with. And
so basically that's you and Hannah. Then.
yeah,
it's basically just Hannah. I'm gonna credit all of that to Hannah, but yeah, and working with Northampton and Gabi and using their resources and everything. So I thought that was really fantastic. And they also mentioned that since we opened up the funding to be available to everyone for Electrify, they actually already have 9 heat pump projects.
Wow.
Already. That are all using they had 6 heat pump projects already, and they have 3 next week that they're doing that are all eligible for Electrify. So the opening up the funding has been huge for getting people to want to transition to heat pumps. And I think that he said all 3 of the heat pumps that are going in next week are in Easthampton. It was pretty cool. So I was really proud to hear that. And I have the exact numbers written down somewhere. That I can share if you guys are interested. So also if you need to give updated numbers for any like legislative purposes, I have our year-to-date numbers from Revise that I'd be happy to share that are a little bit more concrete, but I did not get program to date numbers. It was just the start of 2026 to now, but the numbers are looking really good and they were really happy with it. So
good.
That was sort of, who was that was offering that praise?
That came from our contact over at Revise, their marketing director.
Okay.
So what do we get?
What's our prize?
More work. We get more outreach opportunities to grow the numbers.
Is Revise the one that's doing this with other communities where they're seeing our numbers, our referrals be better than elsewhere?
This is just within Revise's network of their partnered communities. The New Hamptons group has the highest numbers compared to any other community that they work with, which I think is awesome.
Yes.
So.
As far as the work that Hannah had been doing, that you've sort of been taking on others, is there anybody within like Northampton sphere that's taking on some of that too since they left, or?
Not as of right now. I will have some more updates. Again, I'm hoping next week with a little bit more confirmation about the structure of that program moving forward. But right now I think it's going to just be me continuing to answer the phones, and serving as the outreach point of contact. But there might be a shift depending on some external factors that I will be in touch about, hopefully next week.
Okay. Great. Well, that's certainly, again, good to hear. Those are starting to make some waves there. All right, let's talk about aggregation for a second. This is, big. We mentioned it last time. I think that, there was movement on this and that the mayor's office was being asked to review or to sign off on potential contracts or like service agreements first off, so that we could go into the bid phase. We do now have confirmation that we are going to be going into the bid phase. So we had a meeting with the mayor's office and I forget what's Michael's official title, Sophie?
He is the procurement officer.
Procurement officer, thank you. I always get it wrong. So they met with Good Energy, who was able to sort of give them the pitch on, where we're at, why we're doing this now. But basically got them to agree that we don't need to do anything with these service agreements for the three potential providers. So there are three suppliers that we'll be hopefully getting bids from. They're not all necessarily required to bid, but we're going to have a pre-bid meeting on Monday, the 22nd, and then bid day is the 23rd, when the actual bid and numbers will be reviewed and a decision will be made. If a decision is made to contract, basically the contract gets signed that day. And that's what the service agreements, having those in place ahead of time, means that when you decide to accept a bid, you execute that service agreement, the mayor signs it, and we're off and running. So potentially, a week from today, we will know what the pricing looks like, and we will know what company and the length of the contract.
So then what's the time frame for it to become available to people?
Good question. It'll take a few months because there's public notice periods. There's required outreach and publicity that you need to do. There's, you got to give people time to opt out. So there's a whole public campaign that will be done. Good Energy will orchestrate that. We'll certainly aid them however we can. The mayor's office, whatever else we'll do what's needed to make sure that that's happening. And then once we get through that period, there'll be a set date for when it starts. Let's assume maybe it's September 1st or October 1st, something like that. And I imagine that'll kind of be set at the time of the contract signing as well. That would be like as of this date. So, so we'll see how that compares to the current pricing and projected pricing. But I guess we're far enough into the Daisy experience, et cetera, that the suppliers are feeling a little bit more confident about entering into these longer term. They kind of know what things are going to look like. Probably not going to have as cold a winter as we had again this time around. You never know. Yeah, but yeah. So all things look good for us to be able to lock in. Good pricing that again, hopefully will hold up well over the long term, or over the term of the contract.
Great news.
Yeah. So, Good Energy, again, emphasize that, in all the places I've still got to remember everything that they said, but, across the state and all the communities they've worked with, right? No one's ever canceled their aggregation, right? There is a cancellation potential that you're able to go and cancel if you're unhappy with things at some point, but that nobody's ever done that really everything is held up well, over the terms of these contracts. Even though, occasionally, there's some fluctuation in electric prices from 6 month period to 6 month period. But so again, there will be the standard option, which everyone is switched to, which will be the state baseline for renewable energy plus a little bit more. So that'll be the base product. People can then opt down to the product that mirrors the current fuel mix in whatever source provides. And then there'll also be the 100% renewable option, I believe, that people can opt into, and there'll be pricing set for all of those in advance. So we'll even see what the 100% renewable looks like compared to the base rate. So as soon as we know what that is or what that's all signed, I'll certainly share that with all of you. If anybody would like to be included in those meetings, I'm sure we could add you in to just sort of sit and see what's happening. That's mostly what I do at this point in time.
When did you say the pre-bid
The
was?
pre-bid is on the 22nd, Monday, and
I don't think I'm available. So I'd be
the
curious.
bid meeting is the 23rd. I'll tell you the exact time in a second.
Those are happening, and I imagine that most of the decision-making will occur based on the top line.
Yeah.
You know, how large is the production?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good energy as our guides here will basically tell us what we should do. 10 a.m. on Monday and 11 a.m. on Tuesday. That is that. So yes, so the timeline from there will. Glad to have this. Hopefully, I think it is a financial win for the city and for residents. It should be,
Absolutely.
when I say this at a time when obviously, we've just committed to everybody, or these homeowners, kicking more money into the tax.
It'd be great if we could get about $100 a month in savings. That would be perfect.
The even Steven thing there. Yeah, exactly.
Clean energy to the rescue.
Yeah.
But it would be nice just to be able to say, hey, the city's doing something for you.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
positive. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's what, I made the case as such to the mayor just in an email at one point saying, as we weren't sure, if they were okay with moving forward, it's like, I made the point that, hey, this was potentially a good financial win that you could point to regardless of how the vote goes down.
Yeah.
And now that we know that it's passed.
Yes. Thank you for pursuing it all this time, for hanging in there with it.
It's
Been a while.
been a while. Yeah, that's what happens. It's the wheels of progress grind slowly sometimes. But yeah, excited to get that hopefully over the finish line and up and running. So that's about it. We've talked about grants and things. We've left our business recognition program thing on the agenda here. I know there's probably not a lot of focus and progress on that right now. It's not really a high priority.
Well, on that topic,
Yes.
by the way, before I forget, I'm going to be going to the high school on Thursday. I will check out the lighting. I'll follow up on the lighting.
Okay.
See if I get comments. On a potential business one, I would love if responsible. I mean, one of the largest users, energy users in the city is INSA. There was a lot of discussion at the time of their initial licensing about. There was a lot of discussion on the council about putting in energy requirements as part of that, and in the end, my recollection was they weren't adopted. But maybe we're at a different place now.
It's a very good point.
I don't know what they have done voluntarily, maybe something, but that'd be a great potential.
And the municipal aggregation, is that only residential customers?
Yes.
Or is residential and
It's
commercial?
residential and commercial. I believe it's every customer
Okay.
within Easthampton that's not already with a third-party supplier.
Right. Okay.
Anyone that's already chosen a third-party supplier will stay with that unless they decide to opt in. They have to opt in. And
So I don't know where they are on that, but anyway, there's just a thought about it, but since you mentioned business, it's always been in the back of my mind.
right. Yeah, I don't know anything really about what they do over there. I mean, basically what they do, but why they're such large energy users.
Lighting.
Yeah.
Right, because they're actually growing
They're
like on a huge site there. Okay. Yeah, no, I imagine.
And the heat, I mean, they have to maintain.
And they're doing it in an uninsulated building as well, I assume.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either,
It's
but
possible, but anyway,
wouldn't be
the
a
point is,
surprise.
it's a very energy intensive
Mhm,
operation.
mhm. So what would you propose that we would?
Well,
We
if
have
we
to
have
put a
municipal-
recognition over.
Well, I mean, if we have the municipal aggregation thing in place, then one, ask if they're not already procuring 100% clean
Yeah.
electricity would be to ask them,
Mhm.
hey, this is an opportunity for you to support the aggregation program and demonstrate
Right.
sort of
and we'll
commitment.
give you lots of publicity that you're
No,
doing.
no, it's a kind of business
Yeah.
that one would think would want to be on the green side of things.
Yeah,
Right. Well, that could be, so now that you mention it that way, that's an interesting peg for it, which is sort of like, instant recognition, say for any business that chooses to opt into like the 100% renewable.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Um,
We'd have to give them more than a sticker.
Okay.
Two stickers.
Yeah.
Two stickers.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, is it's everything like even just on like the aggregation website where we could like, promote them or something like that. Like here's our
Yes, yeah.
like top tier or whatever we want to call them, business,
Or maybe we could have some of
greenest
those
businesses,
street flags with
right?
every company that's using 100%.
Hmm.
I do worry about, and this is just coming from the city perspective, about like city favoritism for certain private entities in that way. Like, I don't want us to be in a position where it looks like we're targeting certain businesses to make certain decisions aggregation wise because they will get some kind of promotion out of it. I just would be concerned about handling
They would all have to get it. If, any business that was choosing the 100% option would have to get some sort of recognition. It would like suggest it to the ones who are using the most electricity. The city could do that. I don't know. I see what you're saying. We have to be careful how we do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a legal philosophy in regulatory space that it is reasonable for, when you have limited bandwidth to target, for example, like EPA started regulating with power plants because they were the largest sources of emissions by far, and then moved on to sort of other sources that sort of made sense. And when there were lawsuits saying, hey, you need to address these other sources, they said, well, we can only do so much. We're using our discretion to sort of target the places where we can have the biggest impact. And I agree it would be an awkward conversation if it was just IMSA, but if someone could tell us if we could intuit or otherwise know who the largest energy consumers were in the city,
Right.
then I'd be surprised if that information was public, but you could certainly have a good sense of who that might be, based on sort of building footprint and type of activity, then sort of having a conversation with that group, sort of saying, hey, really like to increase the amount of renewables happening.
Right.
That would be
I mean, that supports sort of the decarbonization writ large. Obviously, with the climate action plan, that's based around like municipal emissions and actions. But there's something that falls in line with that, and maybe with the Chamber of Commerce or something like that, you could work with their members. Say, maybe the Chamber of Commerce could be the one saying like, hey, if you choose to opt into the 100% renewable thing, then they can help. I don't know, collect like the companies who are doing that, and then there's some sort of collective, honoring or recognition of some sort of as like sort of decarbonization leaders, something like that.
We just have to think about making sure we do it right. That's right. That we do need to be sure we're doing it appropriately.
But I mean, I absolutely don't disagree at having some type of incentive for making a big shift to procuring only green. I do think that should be rewarded and emphasized as much as we can. So it might be a question for, I guess maybe not procurement. It would be like a legal question, right? Like would the city attorney be the person to ask? I'm trying to think about avenues for like if we're proposing an idea, who I would get that approval from. Maybe
when we were putting together the idea for the business recognition program to begin with, was there any sort of concern about favoritism, or like they wanted to meet some sort of basic criteria?
It's interesting because there are actually other communities I've spoken to who have tried to implement a business recognition program have gotten pushback from, I want to say, their city council. So I was planning on, after budget stuff was kind of done, bringing it to the mayor's office first. And then if we need to go through city council to get eyes on it, to get it approved, that would be the avenue that I would take. But I was first going to loop the mayor's office in on it just after things kind of cool down a little bit and we have more time for those discussions. But it would probably be, I guess, a similar avenue for looking at.
The recognition program that we established was pretty amorphous. I mean, the criteria didn't even really exist.
Right.
I mean, maybe before we take that step, we should think about whether we want to make it a little more stringent in order to.
Well, to say that would be tied to one very specific action, right? Of like choosing 100% renewable energy, like just creating.
But I'm wondering whether if whether we're just gonna do that from now on, which would make sense to me really, as opposed to, because the list that we made when we set it up was, you basically, as long as you had some recyclables, you would get an award if you asked for it. It was pretty easy.
And I actually kind of feel like that's why the Chamber of Commerce didn't have any concerns about it, is because it was, no, I'm serious, like because it was so widely accessible, it's hard to show favoritism when the criteria is like use paper straws and have almond milk at your business. Like it was very, so I do wonder if things become a little bit more consequential than the little things that we've kind of put forward.
But on the other hand, though, our climate action plan is very specific. I think we can just, that the city council, it accepted it, and that's how our city functions. And so our wanting to encourage businesses to go 100% with electricity, I don't see how it's, I mean, if we start harassing certain businesses, that might be an issue, but as long as we open it up and then start really honoring the companies that do it, it's part of the climate action plan.
I would be curious to know if Good Energy, when they do the outreach, like what that looks like, and if they are specific about who they target certain messaging to, and if they have like a specific avenue for like talking to businesses about it, and if maybe this is something that they've run into before that we could collaborate with them on.
It would be interesting to get that information from them.
I mean, the chances are that large energy users, and I don't know if, ITS is big enough to fall into that, but, chances are like energy is going to be, a primary concern for them, like costs. So chances are a lot of those groups are already working with a third party supplier because they're going to try to negotiate the best possible.
You might be right, but we don't know.
But we don't know, but, and I guess that's what'll eventually be figured out, like as the aggregation program is getting up and running, they'll have to figure out, okay, which of these groups are opted out, or which Eversource customers will not be coming into the program.
But the larger question actually, and part of the reason I raised it is because at the time in which this was all being discussed, and there were a number of potential, it's when the city was grappling with how many licenses to issue and what the criteria would be, et cetera, and what the regulations would be. This was discussed. It was, when planning comes, it would be a good opportunity to discuss with them about whether they want to revisit those regulations going forward with an eye towards potential mandate.
Mandates for like efficiency, or what would the mandate be around the energy?
It would be, I remember it was very light, I was going to say light focus. But yes, it was to use certain lighting. I mean,
okay. Yeah, I wasn't.
It's the same kind of argument that we're talking about these days with data centers, right? I mean, if they're going to be large energy users, then there ought to be other things it's the same issue.
Right. I guess how and when you regulate them, or like what you require them to do.
At least they started the discussion.
Yeah, I'm certainly happy to, talk to planning. I don't know if it comes down to them in the end, or if that has to then, what that would have to.
Planning for the draft, and then there's an adoption process, ultimately pending at city council.
Is the city going to purchase 100% renewable energy when this comes through?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, the city has, agreements. They're already purchasing solar and other things somewhere. I think, was Michael saying, does the city already have like a third party supply agreement with somebody, I believe like Constellation or something like that?
Yeah, and then natural gas we procure through Power Options, and I think that contract was just, I can't actually say that for certain, but I don't
be affected by aggregation, because aggregation is just electricity. So
okay, right, yeah.
So anyway, Point being, the city as a large energy user has a third-party contract already, because
Yeah,
it makes sense most
it
of the
does
time
make sense,
for-
yeah.
to not just go with the base rate.
And then the question is it, what's the price versus the aggregation price?
Yeah, that's I mean, something that Michael as a procurement officer would be able to examine
right.
and take a look at and see. I think they mentioned in that call, like how recently they had signed a contract or renewed the contract with Constellation, but I don't remember off the top of my head, what they said.
Hmm.
So. Yeah, it's a good question. Like maybe it would make sense for the city to opt into it. Yeah. Again, if they can break a contract or wait for it to expire.
So I have a question, it just dawned on me. Was it you or Hannah who talked about having had developing a relationship with Williston about Mass Save? Did anything happen with that?
When Hannah left, they left me the contact information for the person to reach out to, like whoever they had been corresponding with. I can't remember if it's their facilities director but I followed up with them probably about a month or two ago now, and it sounded like they were talking about it internally. And I don't know if they were ready to move to the next phase of scheduling for any of their buildings, but that's a fantastic reminder that had completely slipped my mind. But it was something that Hannah had started and that I picked back up and have since not pursued again, but would be happy to reach back out and see where they're at and see if they need any additional support. It wasn't for all of their buildings. I think they had like one or two major ones in mind that would be good candidates for, I think weatherization upgrades is what they were looking at. I don't think they had any particular interest in heat pumps, but weatherization.
But the weatherization piece would.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know like what their procurement is for electricity as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like if I don't know if they'd be willing to disclose, but they could at least tell us if they have a third party, which again I would assume that they probably do for their facilities. But yeah, maybe maybe they would be a high profile business that
That's what I
would
was
want to opt
thinking,
in
yeah.
100%.
It might be very good for them just in terms of their PR to be able to say that they're using 100% renewable electric energy.
Mhm.
They do not have the information about that on their sustainability page. So,
Okay.
where you would think you would mention it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure you would if you. I'm sure.
They do have, solar on their hockey rink in the athletic center, but
Right.
Okay.
but that is not going to be enough to cover their campus, even with.
No.
Just the probably barely covers the hockey rink. Which is not open all summer. The ice is in terrible condition right now, just for the record. Skated on it on Sunday. Okay. Well, yeah, there'd be an interesting, group to talk to about, potentially efficiency stuff or aggregation, procurement stuff. Obviously they're going to do what they're going to do, but maybe we could have some degree of influence. Anyone have anything else for today?
No.
Just making sure we have meetings on the calendar.
Correct.
Would allow a readout on where the municipal aggregation plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, if the good energy folks could zoom in for a little bit.
For the next meeting. Yeah.
And then, it could end up being a busy July meeting if there's also
Planning
and the news from the legislature and maybe the mayor. So, yeah.
Okay. People want to stick with Tuesdays? Anyone have a Monday through Thursday that does or does not work for them?
I'm free any of those, any night.
Okay, yeah, for the next, so let's assume like July, August, and September.
Okay.
So we get back to September, we get back into. But prior to that, pretty much any nights are okay for me too. Anybody going to be away for any significant portion of July?
I'm away at the beginning of July, so. I'll be back by the 13th.
Okay, we want to look at, let's just stick with Tuesdays for now then.
We could Tuesday the 14th.
Tuesday the 14th or Tuesday the 21st.
How many weeks is it from where?
4 weeks from today to the 14th.
Oh, okay.
And again, with so much going on, the aggregation thing happening, probably might be
Mhm.
trying to do that on the 14th. Sophie, any issues with Tuesday the 14th of July?
Nope, works for me.
And then if we stay kind of, well, so then with August, we could go to 4 or 5 weeks. So either August 11th or the 18th.
Either's fine with me.
Preference for the 18th.
Okay.
For the 18th, I think that's fine. Okay, so we're talking July 13th, August 18th. And then if we go 4 weeks from there, we're looking at September 22nd.
It's okay to me.
I may
It's possible I might be as well.
Maybe we should pick a different week.
If we could go back to the 15th, then that would be, yeah, if we did, we were saying August 18th, then the 15th is still 4 weeks.
Yeah.
For that, so the September 15th. All right, so it's not working. July 13th. July 13th, August 18th, September 15th. City to get the link scheduled. Have a link created for the meet, so we can still continue to do hybrid for those. If we're good with that, we'll stick with 6 p.m. start time.
Sure.
Work
Yeah.
for everybody. All right, so we'll go 6 p.m. on those days, and anybody has anything else? Otherwise, I'll
I'm okay.
motion to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.